Today, you will learn how to say the following in German. I am tired. Ich bin müde. You are happy. Du bist glücklich. They are from Germany. Sie sind aus Deutschland. But that's just the beginning. There's much more in today's lesson. Welcome to the second lesson of our A1 German course. Today, you'll be learning about personal pronouns and how to use the verb sein in simple sentences. We'll also cover some common mistakes to avoid. And make sure you stay until the end, as we'll do a practice session together. And now, let's jump right into today's lesson. Viel Spaß beim Lernen. Now, let's first talk about personal pronouns. In every language, personal pronouns are words we use to refer to people without repeating their names. The same goes for German. Personal pronouns are essential for constructing sentences. Today, we'll focus on how they're used as the subject of a sentence. Here are the German personal pronouns. I'll say each one, and you can repeat after me. Ich. Du. Er. Sie. Es. Wir. Ihr. Sie. Sie. Notice that sie is used for multiple personal pronouns in German. It can refer to they, you in formal situations, or she. Don't worry. Context will help you figure out which one is being used, and we'll look at examples of this in a bit. And here's something important. When sie is used to mean you in formal situations, it's always capitalized, even when it's not at the beginning of a sentence. When it refers to they or she, it's written with a lowercase z, unless, of course, it's at the start of a sentence. Let's go over all the personal pronouns one more time, and then we'll move on to the next part. Ich. Du. Er. Sie. Es. Wir. Ihr. Sie. Sie. Now that we've learned about personal pronouns as the subject of a sentence, let's take a quick look at how they work as objects too. In German, personal pronouns can be used in different forms depending on their role in the sentence. This is where cases come into play: nominative, accusative, and dative. Here's a quick look at the pronouns in these three cases. Don't worry if this seems like a lot. You'll learn how to use the accusative and dative pronouns later in the A1 course. For now, just remember that different cases are used depending on whether a pronoun is the subject or object in a sentence. Our focus right now is on personal pronouns in the nominative case, which we learned in the previous part of this lesson. In the next part, we'll review them one more time as we learn how to use them with the verb sein. This will help us build simple sentences in German. Let's move on to one of the most important verbs in the German language, sein, which means to be. This is a fundamental verb that you'll use in many different contexts, so it's crucial to understand how it works. It's used not only as the main verb in a sentence, but also as an auxiliary verb, for example, when forming the past tense. However, for now, we'll focus on how to use it as the main verb. In German, just like in English, the verb sein changes depending on the subject, meaning we need to conjugate it according to the personal pronouns we've learned. Here's how the verb sein is conjugated for each personal pronoun. Let's go through them together. I'll say each form, and you can repeat after me. Ich bin. Du bist. Er ist. Sie ist. Es ist. Wir sind. Ihr seid. Sie sind. Sie sind. Great job! Now you've heard how Sein is conjugated with the different personal pronouns. Remember, just like in English, the form of the verb changes depending on who or what the subject is. To help you see how it works in practice, let's look at a few simple examples. In these sentences, you'll see how we use Sein together with the personal pronouns we've learned. Ich bin müde. Du bist glücklich. Er ist ein Lehrer. Sie ist freundlich. Es ist kalt. Wir sind Freunde. Ihr seid laut. Sie sind aus Deutschland. Sie sind meine Lehrerin. Now that we've seen how to use Sein with personal pronouns, let's talk about a few common mistakes to watch out for when using this verb. One of the most frequent mistakes is confusing du bist with sie sind. Remember, du bist is informal, used with friends, family, or people you know well. Sie sind is formal, used when speaking to someone you don't know well in a professional setting or to show respect. Another common mistake is mixing up ihr seid with sie sind. Ihr seid is used when you're talking to a group of people you know well, whereas sie sind is the formal version for both singular and plural. Pay close attention to context to make sure you're using the right form. Finally, one last mistake to avoid is forgetting to capitalize sie when using the formal you. In German, sie is always capitalized, no matter where it appears in the sentence. By keeping these common mistakes in mind, you'll be able to use the verb sein correctly in everyday conversations. After learning personal pronouns and the verb sein, it's time for a practice session. Let's start with a quick sorting exercise. I'll give you 3 sentences, and your task is to match them with the correct form of sein. I'll give you a moment to think, and then we'll go over the answers together. Ready? Let's get started. Here are the answers. Ich bin eine Lehrerin. Sie ist müde. Wir sind aus Deutschland. Great! Now that we've sorted those, let's move on to completing the 5 sentences together. Ich bin Katrin. Du bist glücklich. Er ist ein Lehrer. Wir sind Freunde. Ihr seid laut. Well done. These are just a few examples of how you can use sein with different personal pronouns. Keep practicing, and soon it will feel natural to use these forms in conversations. Let's quickly review what we've learned in today's lesson. We'll go over the personal pronouns once more and conjugate the verb sein together, so everything is fresh in your mind. Ich bin. Du bist. Er ist. Sie ist. Es ist. Wir sind. Ihr seid. Sie sind. Sie sind. Great job today. You've learned how to use personal pronouns and the verb sein, and you're already well on your way to building simple sentences in German. In our next lesson, we'll dive into basic sentence structure, an essential step in forming more complex sentences and conversations. And after that, get ready for our first vocabulary lesson. It will be in the form of a short story, where you'll learn key words related to the theme of family. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to let us know how you're progressing. Macht's gut und bis bald.